My wife, 38 years old, and I, 39 years old, have been together for 12 years. I don't know how to describe it other than calling it the perfect relationship. I think in 12 years, we've only ever gotten to the point of really raising our voices at one another maybe 2 or 3 times. We do everything together, but always have never had issues allowing each other to lead our own lives and follow our own interests. We bought a house where we both have good, high-paying jobs that have great work-life balance. Basically, it's been everything short of perfect. We've been trying for 2 years to get pregnant, and it hadn't been happening. We were just about to start the fertility stuff when I came home from a work trip, and guess what? She's pregnant. I had this weird instant thought of, wait, I thought we didn't try during the week last month because of the fertility testing. But I couldn't remember exactly because, to be honest, we were busy at it, so I just assumed I misremembered. Now, I travel around the country pretty regularly for work. Other than Infection 19, I've been on the road as much as 40 weeks a year sometimes. Since Infection 19, it's been less but still more than a week a month. Over the last 4-5 years, my wife has gotten very friendly with the guy she works with. Let's call him Matt. Matt is slightly younger, I think 34 years old or so. I know him, he's married, I know his wife. They've worked together for, I think, 7 years or so. He's always been around, him and I have been friendly. Have I ever thought something was happening? No, but I've always thought you'd be a fool to not think there's even a 1% chance your spouse would go outside the relationship. Maybe I'm naive, but I've always seen it as a safeguard to not take my wife or any other partner in the past for granted. She's never given me a reason to think she'd do that. But anything is possible, so about a month ago, I'm out of state for work and she's at home. I ask her what she's doing earlier in the day, and she says Matt is coming by for dinner. Not out of the ordinary. Matt comes by from time to time. Sometimes with his wife, sometimes without, sometimes when I'm not there. I don't think much of it. We have a security system which includes cameras, both inside and outside of the house, which we installed after an unrelated incident a few years ago. They record and are live accessible by both her and I. I often use those cameras to check on the dog when I or both of us are away, as the rest of the system is monitored by a company in case of an alarm going off. She knows I check those cameras. There's a system installed where I can talk through them. I'll mess with my wife, and she will with me on them if either of us are out of town. She travels for work as well, but far less than I do. Point is, it's known that I check them often when I'm not at home. So I turn on the camera, and I see my 4 months pregnant wife lying on the floor on her side with Matt sitting, straddling her legs and using a foam roller to massage her hips. So I'm like, okay, what the frick is this? I start rewinding through the footage, and they are eating and talking normally. But then, they get on the couch and get under the same blanket. Now, they are feet to feet, but that couch isn't that big. Then they move to the floor, and that's when I logged in. Anyway, I text her, I'm still watching the cameras. They both look like deer in headlights, and he very quickly leaves. We get into an argument. She isn't mad at me accusing her, but she's adamant that nothing has or ever would happen, and that what I saw was innocent, and she was complaining about being in pain from the pregnancy, which I know is true. She's already having some issues with back pain, etc. The biggest point of that discussion was I asked, if I were there, would you two have been comfortable doing any of that in front of me? And she reluctantly admitted, no, probably not. I told her I didn't want to talk after that, and we'd talk when I got home 3 days later. That's when it hit me. What if my weird gut moment feeling about her telling me she was finally pregnant was this? What if my 1% happened, and this is not my child we are having? Now it eats away at me while I'm at a hotel alone, 1,000 miles away for 3 days. I reconcile with myself that I think it's less likely than more likely that something between them has happened. But basically my 1% just jumped to 10%, 20% maybe. I get home and she's on eggshells and doesn't mention it. I kind of wait to see what she's going to do. 2 days later, she finally brings it up and breaks down. Swears nothing has happened. She would never. Doesn't do anything over the top to try and prove anything, which I took as a good sign. But anyway, we talk out the issue and everything to a point of at least moving forward for now. I'm still coping and dealing with it, figuring out how to retrust after all this time. I'm getting more and more understanding of the fact that they are friends. They've been friends for so long. Maybe he has intentions. But I don't see her having any, and I've never really picked up on it. And I've spent time around both of them together many, many times, and never caught anything. So the thing that is destroying me right now is, if I'm wrong and something did happen, well, I can figure out how to deal with that. What if that child isn't mine? In the argument and few long conversations we've had about the situation, since I've never brought that up. And she's not mentioned it. Mostly because I don't want to make the situation worse and crush her if, in fact, she's telling the truth, which I mostly believe. The only thing I can think to do at this point is to wait until the baby is born and immediately order a paternity test in secret. Should I do that? Should I tell her and have it dealt with now? If you're a woman in her shoes and you're telling the truth, would that destroy you or your view of me? If you're lying, what would you do if I asked? I don't want to ask a super vague question, but what do I do? Update. So many comments. Thank you everyone, more than I can address directly, but I'm going to keep reading a few things. One, stop DMing me about this. Thanks. 2. Some have made some good points about addressing it now rather than later, and that's something that I'm considering more than I was before. Thank you. 3, to those focused only on my relationship. I get it, but that's not what I'm focused on. We've been talking about it a lot. My wife and I are pretty open people with each other. I'm not saying I'm convinced nothing happened, but I'm more focused on paternity right now. 4, if I need to track, spy on, Life 360, my wife, then this relationship is over already. That's not the relationship we have and not one that I ever want. And in my opinion, not one anyone should ever have. We are working on rebuilding trust. As I said in this long-winded post, my default of a 1% possibility went up to 10% or so. Trust me, I'm taking my relationship seriously. But to those I've said this to already, if the kid isn't mine, then there's no longer any conversation to have. 5, I've already had this discussion with my lawyer. I don't live in a state where the birth certificate stuff will be an issue. If I have paperwork that this child isn't mine, then divorce isn't going to be much of an issue. Both of us are in an independent financial situation where it won't matter much regardless. I'll keep up with this post as long as I can and post an update when and if anything gets resolved. Another update now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I personally would talk about it all. Everything you are feeling. All your doubts and insecurities. You've been together this long. Why start keeping things from each other now? Especially when a baby is on the way. You need to man up and ask. And she can't even blame you. What they were doing is weird. 2 grown adults cuddling and being strange under a blanket together. That's not normal. If my boyfriend, baby dad, was going that crap, I'd be questioning our entire life together. And we've only been together for 2 years. I don't think people can't have opposite intimacy friendships, but come on. Even she admitted she wouldn't have done that in front of you. That's sneaky. And what does his wife think of it? What does her husband think of going over to another married, pregnant woman's house to massage her back and cuddle on the couch with their feet? It's weird, man. I know you love her and are trying to make every excuse. Best to find out now. If she doesn't understand why you want the tests, she's being unreasonable. You deserve the right to know and ease your mind. Good luck. Comment 2. Baby or not, your wife was acting inappropriately with another man. She claims it was innocent, but if my wife saw me doing what you saw them doing, she would probably leave me. I'd be honest with her and tell her that your trust in her has been compromised due to what you saw. She put that doubt in your head, not you. Tell her that what you saw has saddened you, because it has actually caused you to wonder if there's a slim chance the baby might be his. That doubt is robbing you of the full joy you should be experiencing during what should be a very joyful time in your life. Who knows, she may suggest a test to ease your pain. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around. A lot has happened since my last post. The tension at home was like walking through a minefield. Every step could be the one that blows everything up. I tried to keep my cool, but the thoughts kept gnawing at me. Then, one day, I came home early from a trip, and there was my wife in tears on the phone. She didn't see me. I overheard her talking about mistakes and regret. My heart sank. I confronted her and she confessed. She had a moment of weakness with Matt a while back. It was a one-time thing, she said, but I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. I was furious, not just at her, but at myself for being so blind. I wanted to confront Matt, but what good would that do? Instead, I focused on the baby. I couldn't wait any longer. I needed to know if I was the father, so I did it. I ordered a paternity test without telling her. The results came back and the baby was mine. Relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. The trust was broken, and I couldn't look at her the same way. We tried to work through it, but the cracks were too deep. I moved into the guest room and started talking to my lawyer about separation. Then, as if things couldn't get more complicated, Matt's wife showed up at our door, furious. She had found out about the affair and was leaving Matt. She wanted my wife to know the damage she had caused. It was a mess. My wife was devastated, not just for herself, but for the pain she had caused another family. I was caught in a storm of emotions. I wanted to hate her, but I also saw her remorse. She was trying to make things right, going to therapy and reaching out to Matt's wife to apologize. But could I forgive her? That was the million-dollar question. As we navigated this chaos, my wife's pregnancy became complicated. She was put on bed rest, and despite everything, I couldn't leave her side. I was there when our child was born. A beautiful baby girl. Holding her in my arms, I felt a love I couldn't describe, but also a sadness for the state of our marriage. We're still living together for our daughter's sake, but the house feels like a shell of what it once was. We're polite, we co-parent, but the love that once filled these walls seems like a distant memory. I'm still deciding what to do about our marriage. It's not just about us anymore, it's about our daughter, too. Thanks for reading. Aita for cutting off my girlfriend's best friend after she confessed her love for me and tried to sabotage our relationship. My 25-year-old male, new girlfriend, 29-year-old female, and I are expecting our first child. But we've only been official for 6 months. For context, we matched on Tinder a little over a year ago. We chatted here and there, never hung out, and then our conversations kind of fizzled. I ended up seeing her when I was out with my friends last summer, and we started to talk again. We talked pretty much every day for a month and a half, hung out 2 or 3 times during that, and I asked her to be my girlfriend on November 1st of this year. Well, over Christmas, she told me she found out she was pregnant. She was about 7 weeks pregnant when she told me, which means we conceived the first week I asked her to be my girlfriend. It makes sense because that weekend I asked her. We had intimacy. We usually use a condom, but hormones got the best of us. We didn't use one, and I finished inside of her. It was so early into the relationship that I didn't know if she was on birth control or not. So I asked, and my girlfriend said no, but she just got off her period, so she should be fine. We left it at that, and turns out women can still get pregnant right after they finish their period. I didn't freak out as much as I thought I would because I do want a family one day. I really do like my girlfriend a lot and can picture a family with her. She didn't really freak out too much either because she said she's getting to the age where having babies is going to be harder and harder the older she gets. I was nervous to tell everyone, but I felt as if my kid was a gift from God because she got pregnant the first time we had intimacy without a condom. So it was meant to be. Everyone congratulated us. Her parents were excited, mine were freaking out but excited. Buddies all said congrats. One of my friends, though, said I should have been more careful. Duh, I know. Because it's weird my girlfriend got immediately pregnant. He has this hunch she was lying and wanted to get pregnant. Her and I coach the same sport. I still partake in it, and he joked she wanted to get pregnant by me because I'm good at it. It's now May 2nd. We just celebrated our 6-month anniversary, and she's 6 months pregnant with a baby girl. I really am excited, and I love my girlfriend, but here are some issues we're currently facing. 1. We don't live together yet. We live an hour and a half away from each other. She's finishing her master's program and graduates next week. She's planning on moving in with me after her lease expires, which is at the end of this month. So she'll be 7 months pregnant approximately. 2. She doesn't have a job. She's been applying to places and had an interview, but no one else is contacting her back. I'm nervous because I feel like she might have a tougher time landing one, especially because she's due in August and wants to be a teacher. She was one before grad school, right when school starts. 3. I have a job. but only make $12,000 a year. My parents help me out a lot. They pay my rent and bills. So my money is basically spending money. I'm a coach, so I'm employed for the majority of the school year, but I'm off during the warmer months. I'm thinking of getting a second job. Our daughter's due date is approaching, and reality is starting to hit me. I really don't have that much money, and my girlfriend is 6 months pregnant and unemployed. We live in different states too, so she only has state insurance in the state she's living in. I go off my parents' insurance next month when I turn 26. I overthink everything now. Both our families live in different states than we live in. Was my friend right? Should we have gotten a baby unaliving? It's too late for that, and we're having this kid. The damage is done, and I'm going to have a little one in my arms in just 3 months. I really am excited. I'm just scared. I'm just looking for advice. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. It's going to be extremely difficult for your girlfriend to find a job at 7 months pregnant. It's not impossible, and we can go back and forth talking about discrimination. But any employer can think of a reason not to give her the job. That part sucks. As far as you, it's time to grow up. You're 25 and about to be a father, and your parents pay your bills. I'm not going to criticize you for that because I would have loved it if my parents were able to do it. But I also didn't have a full-ass family to take care of. I'm assuming most of the coaches only coach for part-time play money, in addition to having another full-time job. Sounds like it's time for you to go that route as well. Comment 2. Your most pressing concern is money. Struggling as an adult to pay bills is one thing. Struggling to take care of a family and a baby is a whole lot worse. You are definitely not overthinking. If anything, you are not taking this seriously enough. My daughter was a surprise when I was 24. I was married for a year-ish and had a job. It was still the roughest part of my life. I love the shoot out of her, but holy hell do I wish I'd had her later, when I was more mature and financially stable. So much struggle. I can't imagine doing that with someone I barely knew. Now for the update. Thanks for all the comments on my last post. Things have taken a turn since then. Just when I thought we were getting a handle on things, my girlfriend's best friend, who's been supportive this whole time, suddenly flipped the script. She's been acting strange, and I found out why. She confessed to my girlfriend that she's been in love with me since we all met coaching. She said she couldn't stand seeing us together and happy. It's like she wanted to sabotage our relationship. I couldn't believe it. This was the same person who helped us pick out baby clothes, who threw us a mini baby shower. And now, she's telling my girlfriend that she should leave me, that I'm not ready to be a father. She even suggested that my girlfriend should move in with her instead of me. It's messed up. My girlfriend was torn up about it. She didn't know what to do. She trusted her friend, and now this. It's like her friend was waiting for the perfect moment to drop this bomb on us. And the timing couldn't be worse. My girlfriend is stressed enough with the baby coming and trying to find a job. Then, my girlfriend's car broke down. She was on her way to a job interview and it just died. She called me crying. She missed the interview and the car repairs are going to cost a fortune. Money we don't have. It's like everything that could go wrong is going wrong. I'm trying to keep it together, but it's hard. I'm picking up any odd job I can find, but it's not enough. My parents are helping, but there's only so much they can do. It feels like we're sinking, and there's no way out. And then, the worst thing happened. My girlfriend's best friend, in a moment of what I can only describe as pure madness, tried to kiss me. She said it was a test to see if I was faithful. I pushed her away, told her she was out of her mind, and that was it for me. I told my girlfriend everything. She was devastated. She couldn't believe her friend would do something like that. It was a betrayal on so many levels. We decided to cut her out of our lives. It was a hard decision, but we couldn't have that kind of negativity around us, not with the baby coming. My girlfriend was heartbroken, but she knew it was the right thing to do. We had to focus on our little family. Now, we're just trying to pick up the pieces. My girlfriend is staying with me until her car is fixed. We're trying to save up every penny for the baby. It's tough, but we're doing it together, and that's what matters. I never thought I'd be in this situation, forgiving someone for something so unforgivable. But here I am, doing it because I have to be strong for my girlfriend and our baby. It makes me feel weak, desperate even, but I have to do what's best for my family. Thanks for reading. Aita for leaving my boyfriend after he used our house for a loan and scammed my parents. My boyfriend started a business 5 years ago and has hidden that he has not been paying state taxes on it. He owes a lot of money, enough for it to be a felony and for them to put him in jail for 3 years. He has a lawyer, but his only option is to pay the entire amount or go to jail. I'm at my wit's end. We share a rented house together with our toddler, and I have already helped him countless times so his business would be successful. I have thousands of dollars of equipment currently tied to my credit for his business, and because of him missing payments previously, it has damaged my credit. I've had to put thousands of dollars on credit cards to make up for payments since he cannot. He has co-borrowers from nearly every member of his family, and still he begs for more. There was a time last year when utilities were shut off because he wasn't making payments, and I had to pay hundreds in fees and even ask my own parents for help. None of us are wealthy, but I get by. I never try to go above my means, but I've already sacrificed so much for him. It would be a different case if he was a nice, loving person, but he is not. He's always the victim, and he will sweet talk and demand until he gets his way. His only redeemable quality is that he stopped drinking and stopped being as violent as much, both verbally and physically. I truly believe he's a narcissist. I've tried leaving him so many times, but with a toddler, I figured it would be better to stay until he's school age. He is a good dad, but he is not reliable. I am in a dilemma because I know I can help him. I don't want to though, because I just know I will become responsible for the payments, and it could ruin my credit because I cannot afford it. But I can't trust him anymore. He wanted the bigger house I advised against, and he wants to eat out. He wants to take trips, all false promises that things will be okay, but they're not. I just can't do it anymore. He is saying that he will remember me not helping him, but that's all I've been doing, and yet it's still not enough. Everyone else in my life is telling me to let it happen, so I can finally leave and become stable. I may struggle initially, but at least I won't have to worry about the next crisis he's about to bring down on us. But I feel so guilty. I don't know what to do. I dread going home from work to see him because I know he will try to guilt and beg me. I feel sad for my child since he will start school without his dad. I just don't know what to do. Should I help him or should I let him suffer the consequences I could have prevented? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Hi, my dear, I am sorry. You are stuck between a rock and a hard place. My advice? Tell him you have helped him as much as you can, but you have no more money left, and you have to take care of the son you both made together. Do not overextend and go into an unpayable debt for him. Actions have consequences. He is the kind of guy to only learn about consequences when they hit him in the face. I would also worry about the business. It is obviously mismanaged, but what will happen if he goes to jail? Will the business be able to run without him? All your investment disappearing like smoke after a fire? You have to make a plan that works best for you and for your kid. He only has himself to blame. Do not let him push this on you. Comment 2. Let him go to jail. Get your stuff together while he's gone. Become untraceable, but also make a plan because I can't see him just waiting down the clock until he goes after you say no. So maybe leave first and then let things play out. Your allegiance is to your child, not to your hurtful boyfriend. And he's not a good dad, not if he's unreliable and violent and can't pay his own taxes so that he can be present in his child's life. Now for the update, thanks for sticking around. So much has gone down since I last spilled my guts about this mess. The other day, I caught him red-handed trying to take out another loan behind my back, using the house as collateral. Can you believe that? The house we're renting? He forged my signature. And if it weren't for a call from the bank asking for verification, I wouldn't have known until it was too late. I was livid, but that was just the start. I confronted him, and he had the nerve to say it was for us, for our future. But I saw right through it. It was for him to cover his tracks, to keep the tax wolves at bay for a little longer. I told him it was over, that I couldn't do this anymore. He begged, cried, and when that didn't work, he got angry. Said I was ruining us, that I was the one to blame if he ended up in jail. I almost caved, almost. But then I remembered all the times I'd been here before, all the promises he'd broken. I stood my ground. He stormed out, and I thought that was that. But no, he had to go and make things worse. He went to my parents, spun a tale of woe and desperation. My folks, bless their hearts, they've always seen the good in people, even when it's buried deep. They gave him money, a lot of it. Money they'd been saving for retirement, for emergencies. When I found out, I felt like the world had dropped out from under me. How could he? I had to tell them the truth, the whole ugly truth. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. They were heartbroken, not just about the money, but about him, about what this meant for our little family. They were angry too, and who could blame them? They'd been conned by their own son-in-law. Things got quiet for a bit after that. Too quiet. I should have known he was up to something. Turns out, he'd been talking to his lawyer, looking for a way out. And he found one, but at a cost. He sold the business, the one thing that was actually worth something, to his brother for next to nothing. His brother who knew nothing about the tax mess, who thought he was getting a deal. The fallout was immediate. His brother, now on the hook for the taxes, was furious. There was talk of lawsuits, of family ties being cut. It was a disaster. And me? I was caught in the middle, trying to protect our toddler from the chaos, trying to keep my head above water. But then, the final blow. His brother, in a fit of rage, reported him to the state for the tax evasion. It was a move that could have come from a soap opera, but this was real life, and the consequences were real too. The state came down on him hard. They had everything they needed to put him away, and they did. 3 years, just like that. He looked at me when they took him away, like I was supposed to stop it, like I was the one who'd betrayed him. But I hadn't done anything except try to keep our lives from falling apart. And now, here I was picking up the pieces, alone. It's been a couple of weeks since then. I've been working with my parents to get their money back, but it's a long shot. The business is gone, the debts are still there, and I'm left with a toddler who doesn't understand why Daddy isn't around anymore. I've been talking to a lawyer too, about divorce, about custody, about how to protect myself and my child from any more of his schemes. It's not what I wanted, but it's what has to happen. I'm just trying to move forward, to build something stable out of the chaos he left behind. And that's where things stand. It's not a happy ending, not by a long shot, but it's an ending. Or maybe it's a beginning, a chance to start over without the weight of his mistakes dragging me down. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.